I work reception at a small boutique hotel in Copenhagen, and last Tuesday this American couple walked in demanding dinner reservations at 9. I explained our restaurant closes at 8 because we're in a residential neighborhood with quiet hours. The husband looked at me like I just told him Denmark was closing. That's ridiculous, he said. In real countries, businesses stay open when customers want them open. That's called capitalism. He pulled out his phone to show me a screenshot of American restaurant hours as proof. See? Back home, places understand customer service. 9 p.m. is prime dinner time. I tried explaining that in Denmark we value work-life balance and community standards, but he cut me off. So you're saying Danish people just go to bed hungry? That's a human rights violation. His wife nodded, deadly serious, and asked if she should contact their embassy. They eventually ordered room service at 7, ate it at 9, and left a review saying we discriminated against their cultural dining schedule. The next morning they asked why breakfast wasn't available at 11:30. When I said breakfast ends at 10, the husband actually said, "This is why Europe's economy is failing." My cousin manages a bakery in Vienna, and she watched an American woman try to open our locked door at 6:45 a.m. while we prepped inside. The woman yanked the handle 3 times, then knocked on the glass. My cousin pointed at the sign saying we open at 7. The woman cupped her hands against the window and shouted, "I can see you're clearly open. The lights are on." When my cousin finally cracked the door to explain we're preparing for opening, the woman pushed past her. "If you're here working, the store is open. That's how business works." She grabbed a croissant off the cooling rack and tried to hand over cash. My cousin gently explained she couldn't sell items before opening time due to health regulations and insurance. The woman's face went red. In America, if you're physically present in your business, you serve customers. That's the free market. She actually cited Adam Smith. Eventually she left, but came back at 7:05 and complained that her croissant was less fresh than the one she'd tried to buy earlier. I drive a tour bus in Edinburgh, and last month an American asked why we stopped to let an elderly woman cross the street mid-block. "Isn't that jaywalking?" he said. "You're encouraging crime." I explained that in Scotland, pedestrians have right-of-way pretty much everywhere. He laughed, then realized I was serious. "That's insane. So anyone can just wander into traffic and drivers have to stop? What's next? Deer have right-of-way." His wife chimed in, "This is why European traffic is so slow. No accountability for pedestrians." They proceeded to list American cities with efficient traffic flow, where jaywalking tickets keep streets safe. When we stopped again for a mother with a stroller, the husband said, "You're creating entitled pedestrians who think the world revolves around them." 10 minutes later, he jaywalked across a busy intersection in Edinburgh and got angry when a car actually stopped for him. My brother teaches at a gymnasium in Munich, and he had an American exchange student show up 7 minutes late to her first class. When he marked her tardy, she genuinely looked confused. "7 minutes isn't late," she said. "Late is like 15 minutes. Everyone knows that." He explained that in Germany, punctuality is measured to the minute. If class starts at 8, you're in your seat at 8. She laughed. "That's psychotic. Time is fluid. Einstein proved that." She actually referenced relativity theory to justify chronic tardiness. Over the next week, she rolled in anywhere from 4 to 12 minutes past start time, always insisting she was basically on time because she was in the building. When he gave her detention, she said German education was suppressing American time freedom values. In America, we understand that inspiration doesn't run on a clock. Maybe that's why we won the space race. Her mother emailed demanding an apology for the cultural discrimination. I manage a swimming pool in Rotterdam, and every summer we get Americans baffled by the mandatory shower requirement. Last July, An American man in board shorts tried to walk past the showers straight to the pool. I stopped him. "Sir, you need to shower first, without clothing." He stared at me. "I showered this morning at my hotel. That's good for the whole day." I explained it's about hygiene before entering shared water. He pointed at his shorts. "These are swim trunks. They're designed for water. Showering with them on defeats the purpose." When I clarified he needed to shower naked per Dutch pool regulations, his eyes went wide. "That's a privacy violation. In America, we have something called personal space." He suggested our showers were overreach by big sanitation and claimed chlorine was invented specifically so people didn't need to shower. Chlorine kills germs. That's literally its job. I read that on a pool chemical bottle. Eventually he showered in his shorts in a curtained stall, emerging victorious. See? Compromise. America was built on compromise. My sister works at a pharmacy in Stockholm, and an American tourist came in demanding prescription medication without a prescription. When she explained Swedish law requires them, he pulled out an empty medication bottle from America. "This is my prescription. It says right here I take this." She explained that's not valid in Sweden. He'd need a Swedish doctor. He looked offended. "Are you saying American doctors aren't real doctors? We invented modern medicine. Penicillin, anesthesia, all of it." When she gently noted penicillin was discovered by a Scottish scientist, he said, "Right, but we perfected it. We made it better. That's the American way." He proceeded to explain that freedom of medication is a constitutional right and Swedish pharmacy laws violated the Geneva Convention. "What if I have a medical emergency and need my prescription that I already have from a licensed physician?" She offered to help him find a local doctor. "This is socialism," he muttered, then asked if he could just buy the medications without all the red tape. When she said no, he asked to speak to the pharmacy's owner, then the government. I work crowd control at the Louvre in Paris, and Americans constantly try to enter through exit-only doors. Last month, a middle-aged American woman ignored the giant "Sortie Uniquement" sign and walked against the flow of exiting visitors. When I redirected her, she said, "But there's less of a line here." I explained these doors are exits for safety and crowd management. She looked at the empty doorway, then at the entrance queue. "That's inefficient. An empty door is a wasted door. This is basic logistics." She tried explaining she had a business degree and understood traffic flow better than European museum bureaucrats. When I insisted she use the proper entrance, she sighed dramatically. "In America, we optimize systems. If there's a faster way, we take it. That's innovation." As I walked her to the entrance, she muttered about European inflexibility. She later complained online that the Louvre artificially creates lines, instead of using all available doors. They have 5 doors but only let you use 2. That's communism. My cousin works reception at a doctor's office in Oslo, and an American patient arrived 15 minutes early for his appointment, demanding to be seen immediately. When my cousin explained he'd need to wait until his scheduled time, he said, "But I'm here now. The doctor's in the building. Why would I sit here for 15 minutes when we could just do this now?" She explained the doctor was with another patient. He waved his hand dismissively. "So? Doctors always run behind schedule anyway. If we start now, we'll finish when I'm supposed to start, and he'll be back on schedule. I'm helping." He genuinely believed arriving early entitled him to cut the line. When his appointment time came and he was called in, he complained he'd been forced to waste 15 minutes sitting, and asked if Norway bills for waiting room time. In America, time is money. 15 minutes is like $20 of my time. Do I submit that to insurance? The doctor explained that punctuality works both ways. He looked baffled. "But you're the service provider." I wait tables at a cafe in Brussels, and an American couple sat down at 2 p.m., ordered 2 coffees, then stayed for 4 hours working on laptop. At 6, I gently mentioned we have a dinner rush coming and needed the table. The husband looked up, annoyed. We're paying customers. We bought coffee. I explained that in Belgium, tables during dinner hours are for dining guests. He scoffed. We are dining guests. Coffee is dining. We paid you money for a product and this table is part of that transaction. Legally, you can't force us to leave. He actually used the word legally 3 times. His wife pulled up her laptop screen to show me they'd ordered 2 coffees worth €14 total. See? We're spending money. That means we're customers, and customers have rights. When I offered to move them to the bar area, the husband said, "That's segregation. You're segregating laptop workers." They eventually moved but left a review saying Belgium has authoritarian seating policies and comparing our cafe to a police state. The review included a paragraph about freedom and founding fathers. My brother runs a small restaurant in Porto, and last summer an American family showed up at 6 p.m. for dinner. He explained we don't open for dinner until 8. The father looked at his watch, then at my brother. Your sign says you're open until 11. It's 6. That's 5 hours you're missing out on revenue. My brother explained Portuguese dinner culture starts later. The father laughed. Culture doesn't override business sense. If you're leaving money on the table, literally, that's bad economic. I'm standing here with cash wanting to give you money and you're saying no. That's not culture, that's insane. He tried explaining that Americans are early adopters who could help Portuguese restaurants evolve their business model. When my brother suggested they explore Porto and return at 8, the father said, "So you're telling me to waste 2 hours? That's disrespectful to our time." In America, we invented the concept of customer-centric hours. Maybe Portugal needs to modernize. They ate at McDonald's at 6:30, then left a TripAdvisor review warning Americans that Portuguese restaurants refuse service during normal dinner hours and suggested it might be anti-American bias. I work at a bakery in Copenhagen, and an American man came in asking for a coffee, splash of cream, 2 Splendas. We don't have Splenda. We have sugar. He looked at me like I'd announced we don't have oxygen. No Splenda? What do diabetics use? I showed him our selection of sugar, honey, and agave. He shook his head. Those aren't the same. Splenda is calorie-free. It's scientifically different. Do you have sweet and low? Equal? Any zero-calorie sweetener? When I said no, he pulled out his phone. I'll show you what Splenda is. Maybe you call it something else here. He showed me pictures of yellow Splenda packets as if I'd never seen them. This. Do you have this? I explained Danish cafes typically use sugar. He looked around my cafe, then back at me. So Danish people just accept calories in their coffee? That's why Europeans are. Never mind. He caught himself, but his point was clear. Eventually he took his coffee black and complained it was aggressive. Before leaving, he asked if Denmark was behind on food science technology. I manage a small taverna in Athens, and American tourists constantly ask where the bathroom is before ordering. When I explain you need to be a paying customer first, they look shocked. We just want to wash our hands before eating. That's hygiene. I explain the bathroom is for customers. One American woman got indignant. In America, bathrooms are a basic human right. You can't gatekeep toilets. What if someone had a medical emergency? I pointed to the public restrooms down the street. She looked appalled. You expect me to walk outside, use a public bathroom, walk back, then order? That's 4 trips when it could be 1. This is peak inefficiency. She tried arguing that EU law must require restaurant bathrooms to be public. When I said no, she said, "This is why Americans think Europe is behind. We solved the bathroom problem decades ago with public accommodation laws. She eventually ordered a Greek salad, used the bathroom, then left. The salad sat untouched. Her husband said she was making a point about access. I drive intercity buses in Switzerland, and American passengers always ask why we don't leave early when everyone's boarded. Last month, our bus was full 15 minutes before departure. An American man stood up and announced, "Everyone's here. Let's go." When I said we leave at the scheduled time, he looked confused. But we're all here. Why would we sit on a bus doing nothing when we could be driving? I explained other passengers planned their connections based on our departure time. He waved his hand. Those people can adjust. We're ready now. Time is money. He tried rallying other passengers to demand early departure, using phrases like efficiency and common sense. When I insisted we wait until our scheduled time, he said Swiss Transit was punishing punctual people, and that, in America, if you're early, you're rewarded with getting things done faster. He spent the remaining 13 minutes checking his watch and sighing. When we finally departed exactly on schedule, he muttered, "Unbelievable. We literally sat here wasting time because of a number on a schedule. That's not transportation, that's tyranny." He later emailed the bus company suggesting they implement flex departure times for eager passengers. My sister works at a bike rental shop in Amsterdam, and Americans routinely ignore the mandatory bike lane rules. Last week, an American woman returned her bike complaining about aggressive cyclists who rang their bells at her. When my sister asked where she was riding, she said, "On the sidewalk mostly. The bike lanes were too crowded." My sister explained sidewalks are for pedestrians, and bells mean move to the right of the bike lane. The woman shook her head. "But I was going slowly. I wasn't bothering anyone. Those cyclists were just being territorial." She explained that in America, bikes share space with pedestrians all the time. It's called flexibility. Maybe Dutch people need to learn to share. When my sister showed her the actual traffic laws, the woman laughed. "Those can't be real. You're saying bikes have their own traffic rules separate from cars and pedestrians? That's bureaucracy gone crazy." She insisted Amsterdam's bike culture was overregulated and that Americans invented recreational cycling, so she knew what she was doing. Before leaving, she asked if the bikes had horns to warn pedestrians, missing the entire point. I work the ticket counter at Prague's main train station, and Americans constantly show up seconds before their train departs demanding to buy tickets. Last month, an American man ran up at 9:58 for the 9:59 train. When I said it's too late, he pointed at the departure board. "It says 9:59 and it's 9:58. That's 1 minute. Sell me a ticket." I explained he needs time to find his platform and board. He pulled out his phone. "My GPS says the platform is 200 feet away. I run a 7-minute mile, I can cover 200 feet in 20 seconds. Watch." He was genuinely prepared to sprint. When I insisted the train was effectively closed, he said, "You're choosing bureaucracy over customer service. I'm standing here, the train is standing there, both of us exist in the same location. Just sell me the ticket and I'll make it work." He tried explaining that Americans are problem solvers who don't hide behind arbitrary rules. Eventually he missed the train and bought a ticket for the next one 3 hours later. While waiting, he posted on social media about how European transit punishes efficiency and rewards arriving absurdly early, like some kind of anxiety disorder culture. I work as a crossing guard near a primary school in Helsinki, and Americans always ignore our pedestrian crossing rules. Last month, an American woman started crossing against the red pedestrian signal because no cars were coming. I stopped her. "Ma'am, please wait for the green light." She looked at the empty street. "There are literally no cars. Why would I stand here?" I explained it sets an example for children who are watching. She laughed. "Kids need to learn to assess risk." Standing at an empty intersection waiting for a light to change teaches learned helplessness. In America, we call that common sense crossing. She tried arguing that traffic lights are suggestions when conditions permit, and that blindly following signals without assessing the situation is how you raise sheep, not citizens. When I insisted she wait, she said, "You know jaywalking was invented by car companies to blame pedestrians, right? You're enforcing corporate propaganda." The light changed 30 seconds later. As she crossed, she said, "See? 30 seconds of my life I'll never get back. Multiply that by every person, every crossing, every day." Finland is wasting years of collective human time for theatrical obedience. A first grader nearby asked his mother why the American lady was angry about the red light. I manage a small guest house in rural Ireland, and an American couple got frustrated with our village's lack of late-night services. At 10 p.m. they knocked on my door asking where they could buy groceries. I explained the nearest shop closed at 6. The husband looked stunned. "It's 10 p.m. That's prime shopping time for people who work late." I explained rural Ireland doesn't have 24-hour stores. He pulled out his phone showing me American store hours. "See? This Walmart is open until midnight. That's civilization." He suggested Ireland was stuck in the past and needed to learn about modern retail concepts. His wife asked if there was at least a vending machine. When I said no, she looked genuinely sad. "How do people survive? What if you get hungry at 11? I mentioned most people plan ahead. The husband scoffed. "Planning ahead means you're predicting the future. What if your prediction is wrong and you're hungry at 10? In America, we solved this with 24-hour convenience." I'm not bragging, I'm just saying Europe could learn something. They went to bed hungry and left a review saying Irish villages are logistically unprepared for basic human needs and living in the 1950s. The review specifically mentioned failure to accommodate spontaneous hunger, which is a medical condition. I run a small art gallery in Bergen, Norway, and last week an American tourist tried to touch a sculpture after I'd asked her not to. When I reminded her, she said, "I barely touched it. It's stone. Stone doesn't break." I explained it's about preservation and oils from hand. She rolled her eyes. "That's paranoid. Humans have been touching stone for thousands of years. That's how we know what it feels like. Your rule prevents learning." She tried arguing that American museums have interactive exhibits because they trust visitors. Maybe Norwegian curators are control freaks who don't trust people. That's a you problem. What gets me isn't that they break rules. It's that they break them while absolutely convinced they've discovered a better system that everyone else is too rigid to see. They're not rebels. They're not even rude on purpose. They genuinely believe their way is so obviously correct that our rules must be mistake. It's like watching someone fail a test they're completely confident they aced. Eventually, they move on to the next country, the next cafe, the next train station. And somewhere in Vienna or Porto or Amsterdam, another local is explaining that no, you can't actually do that here. The American listens, nods politely, and then asks, "But why not?"